Hello, hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
This is for Jarod the Dark Jedi. I heard you love Star Wars, but are pretty booty at Star Wars trivia, and that you're 0-4 against Alden and you're afraid of him. Bummer, dude. Bummer. But wishing you the best, and may the Force be with you.
All right. So before we jump into the show, we need to address the elephant in the room. I was regarded by Ezra Bridger himself, Amon Isfandi. Seems like a lovely but misguided gentleman who is on the illicit payroll of, and I just need to say, first of all, I don't know how much money was spent to elicit this libel from an otherwise decent man. But I can tell you this, Alden, Michael, and Trey, it's money laundering. They're money laundering. And I really do hope Amon Isfandi isn't caught in the crossfire of, financial crimes being committed by the Chungus Eternal. I just need to make sure everybody knows. I've seen the clip. I'll even say it's funny. But there's one thing I know for certain in this world. There is no man I fear. Nobody. I fear no one. Especially a two-bit, carny, huckster, fraud like Alden Diaz. I saw him go tearing ass into the celebration of Jerry the Cannon Junkie. He won his number one contender match. It's going to be Jerry and Alden for the first Epic Confrontations Championship. And what I think is funny is that instead of celebrating Jerry's win, instead of even trying to make it clear that, oh, Jerry, you'll never beat me, they started talking about me. They started talking about me. They could buy a cameo from George fucking Lucas to say that I don't know dick about Star Wars trivia. But at the end of the day, folks, they need to put that idea in your head. They need you to think that I'm not a threat. Because everybody in that league, Alden especially, has me on their mind all the time because they know they're next to be sent to the Epic Confrontations graveyard with a crisp KO on their record. Alden did not spare any time to celebrate or denigrate Jerry. They were all talking about me because they know who this league belongs to. Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. I am your host, Jarod the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and joining me this week, of course, is Kason Breon. Kason.
That's for you.
I couldn't hear
Did
what
you hear that or no?
it?
Oh,
I could
damn.
not.
I messed it up.
All right, now stop playing it before we get copyrighted, because we got hit for that
Can't have that.
WWE episode. I don't need that to
Yeah,
happen
right.
again.
Anyway,
but we are not alone. Obviously, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, we were joined by the commissioner of Epic Confrontations, Eli from Star Wars in a Galaxy.
Well, I'm glad you watched it. No, but thanks for having me on, guys. I'm excited to talk about. We got more Star Wars. We got more Bad Batch in specific. I'm so excited
Batch,
because
baby.
I remember specifically last year when 2 was coming out. I felt like I was like rooting for Batch in a major way, and it was kind of like an underdog thing for me. That like everybody was counting Batch out, and I knew it was going to be great. And then my prediction actually, surprisingly, came right. And now I'm so glad that everybody is on the Batch hype train, so we can all be excited for this epic final season.
Me too. Hey, I've made it no secret. I was a Bad Batch skeptic for a while. I did not love the first season. I thought it was meandering. I wasn't super into it. Season 2 was remarkable. And once it's all said and done, I do look forward to going back and re-experiencing it front to back. But Eli, before we jump in, I just need to hear your thoughts on what's going on, man. Like we got money launderers tagging in poor minus Fundy.
About the EC situation. Look, I was informed about that very, very shortly after you were. Actually, I think I think I was doing something else at the time, so I didn't see that until about an hour later. Under league policy, I'm not allowed to comment on such things except for to say it was really fucking funny. And that's all I'll say about that.
Death to all of them.
Oh.
See, everybody has
He's
a favorite.
Face, guys.
Hey, man, just as I'm a face doesn't mean I'm gonna let these trifling tricks over at the Chunkus Eternal walk all over me. It's Wabbit season, bitches. No, everybody has a different favorite part of Death to all of them. You like, oh, my favorite
mine
is
is very clearly the reaction.
My favorite is the guy at the very end that goes, Jesus, which I don't. I'll run it again so people can hear it.
Death to all of them.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, something I never noticed before.
It's my. I heard that was the first time I heard that guy, Jesus, at the end. Is my favorite part. But as we said, we got some fun stuff to talk about. You know, we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer. And just talk about, you know, our excitement for Bad Batch Season 3. But before we jump into that, we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart and something that Eli cannot participate in for another year, and that is Sunday's Bloody Mary. I mean, Eli, you could have like a Virgin Mary. But Sunday's Bloody Mary is the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the galaxy, with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. And you can also get your freak on and garnish that bad boy with their pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, and get nasty and salt that rim. I've said it before, I am a former bartender, the son of an incredible bartender. We all of us know how to make a bad-ass Bloody Mary from scratch. And let me tell you, the only bloody that could surpass me or my mother's is a Sunday's Bloody Mary. And every single person either of us have ever made a Bloody for from scratch have said it's the best they've ever had, and they've not had Sundays yet. So use the link down below and use code TNAP, TNAP at checkout to get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it.
You can also hear it. You can also hear that promo code whenever I ask any batshit question on Epic Confrontations, and Jarod has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Buy Bloody Mary mix. Drown your sorrows with some Sunday's Bloody Mary. So yeah, let's. Here's what we'll do. We'll kind of go beat by beat with this trailer. Let me pull it up. While I do that, Kason, what were your initial thoughts coming out of the trailer?
Initial thoughts coming out of the trailer. As you can see behind Eli, those troopers look pretty wild.
Got some commandos.
Yeah.
I think this is. I cannot never identify these fucking people. Wait, I'm gonna see where my finger is pointing. I think this to the left of me. I think that's Scorch. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because they're all in like the really drab, like samey version of the armor now, so it's hard
And
to
they
like
have the color
differentiate who's
pauldrons and
who.
stuff like that. Like, I know that Delta Squad appears in this fucking show, and I'm horrible at identifying them. Like, I remember watching. I feel like it was I think it was the review for Plan 99, and when Alex said, Dana from Star Wars Explained said, "Oh, Scorch stuns Omega," I'm like, "Oh, that was Scorch. That wasn't just a regular clone commando."
Right.
I'm awful at detecting that.
As am I. But yeah, I trailer ride a little bit as we talk. I'm very excited. I know, like, I believe it was in this shot here where people, eagle-eyed viewers, clocked that Crosshair is nearby or is in the background of one of these. Which, again, hey, this is really cool stuff. I personally always happy to see one of those juggernauts. Excited to see Fee again.
Yeah.
Fee's a character that's definitely grown on me since we covered Batch Season 2 on In a Galaxy.
I always like Fee, but I think it's because I'm a Wanda Sykes guy. I love me some Wanda.
Yeah.
I never hated Fee, but like,
yeah.
More pain. More pain. That shot, can we pause right there? That shot right a few seconds ago with the people running, the crowd.
Yeah, that's definitely on
Pabu, which pains me so much because I really hoped
I didn't catch that
because I really hoped that planet would remain untouched by the Empire, but I guess we can't have nice things. Which I think is going to be the slogan for this season. But yeah,
the Bad Batch Season 3. We can't have nice things. I'm really liking Rex's design here. I just want to say I like the deeper blue. And it just looks like a slimmed down version of his armor. It doesn't look as chunky as it used to. But yeah, I think I'm liking that we're seeing more of Tantus. I'm really hoping that we get a little bit of a stinger that does hint towards like Tantus being a big part of the Emperor's return.
I hope we get some good answers because they delayed it with Season 2, which is fine. And Palpatine on Tantus is going to be great. Those Royal Guards look fantastic in animation.
They look beautiful in animation. Yeah. We're going to circle back to the Palpatine stuff. Like I said, I just mainly wanted to get people.
There's that trooper with the stormtroopers, again, assumably on Pabu, looks like Pabu, which, yikes.
Yeah.
Whatever is needed to accomplish this goal, you will have it.
This shot, I remember everybody freaking out about the shot, and deservedly so. It's very cool. Fennec's back, Cad Bane's back.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Give us a real challenge.
Can you pause for a second, Jared? It was at this point in the trailer where I'm like, they haven't given us a big reveal yet. I wonder what the hell it's good. Like this is about the time in a trailer where they do like something huge or like some like big moment. I'm like,
I call those moments "Hey everyone" moments, and it was before. I don't say before your time, but like before you were into Marvel, because I know you're like a recent MCU fan. Whenever the first full trailer, technically the second trailer for Captain America: Civil War came out, that was our first look at Spider-Man in the MCU, and the trailer ends with Tony having that like, okay, on the ruse, and then they have like that very trailer like kind of cut of like Spider-Man leaping over Captain America, webbing his shield out of his hands, and landing on some like landing gear in the airport they're fighting in, looking up, holding the shield, and going, "Hey everyone!" And then the trailer ends.
Yeah,
so, like, I've always had
a moment like in Batch Season 2, where we see Gunji, for example. That's one of those moments.
Yeah, just a solid "Hey everyone!"
Yeah. And I was so wondering what that moment was going to be, and do you want to cut to the chase?
Everyone down! We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it very tempting.
All right, here we go. So I remember the first people I texted after I saw this trailer were Jarod and good friend of the show, Alden Diaz.
Who?
And yeah, okay. Anyway, and I was getting pissy because I am, and I'm getting a little bit more moderate on this stance, but I still am kind of picky about the whole I like when characters stay dead thing. And my first thought, honestly, like I'm not a huge Ventress fan. I don't hate her either. She's a character.
I tried to mute
Was
my
that-
mic, but I didn't reach
Was
it
that
fast
a
enough.
sneeze?
Yeah, I was trying to like hold it.
I'm
But I ended
sorry,
up honking
Eli.
it.
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm
Don't worry.
so sorry.
No, don't worry. I'm not a big Ventress fan.
You can edit that out later.
Yeah, I'm not a big Ventress fan. I don't hate her either. She's a character that I like. Okay. No offense to those who do like her. I just never like. I think some of her stories have been interesting, but I'm just kind of neutral on her. But I'm like, oh, they're bringing another one back. And once I got over that, then of course we got to the controversy, which I think actually Lucasfilm handled pretty well. Where they're like, this is not going to contradict Dark Disciple. Christy Golden seems to be on board with it. And I already know that people are and are still going to be mad about supposed retconning with Ventress's apparent death in Dark Disciple. But it is something that, like, first of all, many have discussed this. There's wiggle room with Ventress because she is Zaynet's sister for some weird revival shit to happen. And it is like, it's going to happen and they're going to do their best with it. We'll see what story it brings. We can't really judge it now. Jarod actually really Jarod released a tweet. I remember actually later that day that I was like, yeah, I need to do a better job of remembering this. He was like, maybe let's let them cook for like 15 seconds before we get all mad at them. And I'm like, yeah, we have no idea what they're doing with Ventress. We have no idea when it's going to be. We have no idea any of these details with Ventress. We just know Ventress, Sneak a Futterman, yellow lightsaber, new haircut.
Yeah, and I like the thing that kind of drove me up a wall with all of the discourse, because my thing, like, I don't know, maybe this is a byproduct of liking a lot of Marvel and DC, is that I accept it. I think I am numb in some ways to such and such is back from the dead. Like, that's never been something that really bothers me, so long as there's like decent follow through with it and it justifies their return. Like,
Yeah,
Maul,
I'm
for example, like I had always, like as a
Sisyphus.
preteen and as a teen, yes, Sisyphus. I'm wearing the Duel of the Fates shirt right now, with the Twin Sons fight on it. You know, I had like always been somebody who considered the Old Wounds short story their canon. Which was something that was easier to do in the old days when there were canon tiers. But I had always been somebody who was like, yeah, Maul survived. He tracked Obi-Wan down for years and then they fought and then Uncle Owen, you know,
Shot him.
popped the fucking cap in his ass. So like I had kind of primed myself for Maul to return. And when he came back, I was thrilled with it. I think that, you know, I don't think it's controversial to say that coming back from the dead gave Maul a character. You know, Boba
Yeah,
Fett
like
and the
Phantom
new,
Menace, he doesn't fucking talk.
yeah, he has 3
he
lines of
says
dialogue.
Yeah.
You know, 4 if you count.
I
As he
remember that being
falls
an early EC controversy. But But I agree to a certain extent with you. I was going to say, like, there are some revivals that I genuinely do like in Star Wars. Most controversially, I know that this is the one that will get me the most hate on the internet. I don't care. I think that Palpatine's return makes a lot of sense, actually. And it's Palpatine and Fett that I'm fine with. Maul, I have some issues with the character overall, and I still struggle with that sometimes. But it's never about them bringing a character back. It's always about, like, does this need to be done? Like, is this necessary in the story?
Yeah, you need to see it justified in the narrative. For me, Maul's return fully justified within the narrative. He and Boba Fett both share this thing where it's like they're given significantly more characterization after their death, and
absolutely,
and they're coming back from death's door helps to, like, give them a new lease on life. You know, for Maul, it is this exploration of his entire identity. The way that he defined his own personhood was as a servant of the Sith and Darth Sidious specifically. And he comes back, he doesn't have that anymore, so he needs to remake himself, but all he knows is anger, hatred, revenge. And you see that just whittle away at his psyche. Kenobi. And then he comes back from it a little bit at the end of the war, and then just kind of fucks off to be a mafia don after everything falls apart. And yeah, like, he was arguably one of the most successful dons in that era of the galaxy, but he had nothing. The one thing he truly wanted, he could never have, because all he wanted was revenge.
I will reiterate what Kason said earlier. And if any of you have not seen this rant, please. And I'm going to say it the way I feel like it always should be said. Molly Sisyphus. That's how he say it. He's Sisyphus. Learn your Greek mythology. So indignant about it.
Buddy's just doomed to roll that rock up that hill forever.
And it's perfect. And with Boba Fett, you know, I've made the comparison more times than I can count. Boba Fett is Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction. You know, it is that instance of the universe gave me a second chance to live. What am I going to do with it? And how do I square that with the life I've lived thus far? And I think that the people who go out of their way to have these weird imaginary moral questions about Boba Fett's behavior in Book of Boba Fett need to remember that not every good guy's a fucking Jedi. And that at no point does Boba Fett say he has a no-kill rule. Now, by the way, that is still one of the most baffling critiques I've ever seen on the internet is Boba said he won't kill anymore, but he kills all these people and then murders Cad Bane. It's like, motherfucker's not Batman. He never said he was.
Boba never said that. And furthermore, like, one of the biggest plot moments of fucking the 4th episode is him going on a gigantic murder spree for revenge. That is not a good guy moment. I don't know how to tell these people that.
Yeah, and I think that, again, for all the people who want to write off Mando and Book of Boba Fett and even Ahsoka as like, oh, this is dumb kids Star Wars, we have a protagonist, a hero, who is operating in a very morally gray space. And they never tell the audience that Boba is right or wrong, or if anything he's doing is even really justified. All they leave us with is, not everybody is a Jedi. Not everybody is held to this moral standard of, you know, kill as an absolute last necessity, whatever. All of that to say.
Yeah, all this with the Ventress of it all.
With Ventress, what I find fascinating, and I will say I'm halfway through Dark Disciple. It was really funny because I was like, Versus series, you know, there's a little plug there. I've said this before in the Versus series, but I'll reiterate it here for people who aren't patrons, $5 tier, you should be. We were going to use Ventress circa Dark Disciple last season. It was like, okay, I need to read Dark Disciple. I never got around to it. So I'm going to read Dark Disciple and we're going to talk about Ventress. And this is a good, you know, excuse to sit down and do that. And I'm rewatching Clone Wars. So this is great. And then we didn't use her because we were going to use her against Survivor Cal. And I was like, I don't think this is a balanced fight anymore. And so we rearranged it, but I was like, we're gonna use like bounty hunter anti-hero Ventress this season because she got screwed out of her slot last season. And I was like, I'm going to start Dark Disciple. I'm going to be in the stock room all day at work. I have plenty of time. I could polish off a huge chunk of this book, or the audiobook. And quite literally, as I started to type in DAR into the search bar on Audible, Star Wars YouTube channel, The Bad Batch season 3. I was like, oh, neat. Click. I wasn't planning on killing you. Oh, motherfucker, how about that? So I was like, well, now's as good as any to start Dark Disciple.
Yeah. I have not read Dark Disciple, but I hear it's fantastic. And it is also worth knowing for everybody that and I'm not trying to say these two scenarios are completely alike because they're not, but much like what happened in the last Tales of the Jedi short, this is based on unplanned story ideas from Dave that he thought was never going to happen again. And so he gave it to Christy Golden, and then she did her thing with it. And now it's back with not Dave. Again, that's the other thing I hate about this. People, it's not Dave doing, or I'm not saying it's not Dave doing this. We don't know that it's Dave doing this. It's probably not Dave doing this. We don't know exactly what Dave is and is not doing on this show. And so it is inaccurate and wrong to blame or credit him with anything on the show. He co-wrote the first episode, and then he has what he's called like what George's role was on the Clone Wars with Batch, giving advice, helping them iron out story details, but like no major involvement.
Yeah, and I will absolutely say I do think Dave played a role in Ventress's return here. But by the same token, I think the torches and pitchforks over Dave and canon stuff is really hairy. Because on one hand, I think Dave truly is George's heir apparent, and that does come with drawbacks. And some of them are that I do truly think that there is a lack of care for what other people are doing in the sandbox. And it comes in the form of like really weird, confusing continuity choices. That again, are they earth shattering? No. Do they fundamentally break the canon? No. It's annoying. I do truly like. Again, is it worth burning a city down to scream about the stuff
Our precious canon
with Kanan and Depa in the first episode? It happens at night, now it's at day. It's not snowy, now it's snowy. Depa Balaba's lightsaber is blue now for some reason. Okay. Like, is it the end of the world? No. Why did you change that specific thing though? Like that to me, if I ever get to meet Dave Filoni, I do want to ask him, like, why'd you change your lightsaber? Truly, I like it. It is such a and the reason why it it confounds me. I feel like Benoit Blanc. The reason it confounds me is like it is so superficial and stupid. Like everything that's important about that stays the same. But why these specific details? And the same thing you see in Tales of the Jedi. Like not even the Ahsoka short. Like like Kanan and Depa being together during that training like showcase or whatever that was happening with Ahsoka at the beginning of Practice Makes Perfect. They're not supposed to like be master and apprentice yet.
I don't think they are though. I think that the idea is like that I think that Kanan was like I think that Depa like pre-master apprentice thing was like taking him around like other masters would do. It would just happen to be Depa's day.
Sure, and that's fine. I'm just saying like it comes with a really weird implication of why did you make this specific choice? And I think that has earned Dave a little bit of ire. And not to like credit the fandom menace too much, I think there is a propensity baked into us a little bit that we get antsy whenever we see Dave make a bizarre canon choice. That I think some of us subconsciously get, no, Dave, don't change anything because then you're going to convince them you're going to retcon the sequel trilogy. You're going to convince them that you're making a new timeline. Stop. That I think, I don't know if it's a conscious thing, but I think it might
What
be a
if
little
that's
bit
Dave
of
Filoni's kink?
What?
What if
And
his
you gotta
kink
help
is
him out
being
with
the
that.
Phantom Menace?
And you
Because
gotta
like,
help him out with
what's that? A different galaxy? And they're like, oh, a different timeline. He's gonna fix everything. Dave Filoni saved us. And then he's like, oh, sorry, we're going back. Sorry about it.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
I watched Eli mouth that clip a little bit.
That's really what I want to do.
Walk out of here tomorrow.
I really don't want to do. But no, so like I understand it. Now, again, I do think that, and I am of two minds with Lucasfilm even issuing a statement. Because again, going back to Bad Batch's own continuity kerfuffles, lest we forget Orn-Free Gate.
But that was people overreacting to something that actually didn't happen.
True,
but they just thought was happening. It was explained in the next episode. People had to wait a week, and then they were like, yeah, so he's recovering.
Which, again, is hilarious that they said, we're going to shoot this guy in the head and then say he's recovering. All I'm saying is Dave and the Bad Batch have an interesting relationship with standing continuity. And I think that people absolutely jumped the gun with the Ventress freakout. And part of why I think they truly jumped the gun is that everything about Ventress's appearance begs people to go, we're acknowledging Dark Disciple. She's in the outfit. She has the yellow lightsaber. She has a new lightsaber, which I don't want to fully spoil Dark Disciple, but where I'm at in the book is very like she has since no longer has her yellow lightsaber. So she lost the yellow sword. So her having a new one means like they're acknowledging the fact that she lost her sword. Now, again, by the end of the book, maybe she gets the yellow lightsaber back, but right now she does not have it. So even her having a new lightsaber is indicating, hey, we know what happened. Down to the sword. Down to Darth Maul has it. In the Siege of Mandalore. The half of his lightsaber that is not the iconic Darth Maul lightsaber is Ventress's, that he somehow got, bled, and then fused into his old sword.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, all of that to say, they have been acknowledging Dark Disciple. There is no need to jump the gun like this. And there were a lot of people who were made to look really silly in the 15 minutes where they went, oh, I'm glad we have Ventress back, but I can't believe they got a Dark Disciple. Like, they had exactly 15 minutes to lose their fucking minds. Hey, guys, we don't want to spoil anything, but just know Dark Disciple absolutely still happened. Just chill. Chill the fuck out. So that said, we'll kind of work our way through the trailer backwards. We'll start with the big one. What role do we think Ventress is playing here? Eli, I'll throw to you first.
Yeah, I do kind of have a little bit of a different stance on the Ventress thing than you, and I don't want to like paint you as overly nitpicky because I know that That's absolutely not who you are.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, talk your shit, bud.
It's just like it's the whole thing about like Star Wars as a mythology and about like, you know, who shot first. Well, at the end of the day, we know what happened. One man walked out of the Mos Eisley Cantina, and one Rhodian didn't. So, does it really matter who shot first? And same thing. Like again, I understand people's discrepancies with canon and stuff, and but there's certain stuff like I like the idea of certain sources say that Ventress died in at the end of Dark Disciple, or at the end of that chapter of her life, and others say they could have sworn they saw her, and we'll never really know. And like, you know, Star Wars as a tale around the campfire. I like that idea. And most importantly, if doing a little fudging, which again they're not doing, but even if they were doing a little fudging to get a good story out of it, I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree with you on that. Thank you, honey. Water from Miss Taylor, because I dried my throat out by screaming. What? I love you. I should stop screaming. No, I agree with the myth making thing a lot. The other angle I just take with it is that like the story evolves in real time and you make it work. Again, like maybe it's just because I'm like a comic book guy by trade, but like, you know, do you have any idea how many like bizarre wrinkles Spider-Man's origin story has at this point? Like in the year of our Lord, 2024, Spider-Man was randomly bitten by a radioactive spider that he was also destined to be bitten by, because there's all these weird animal themed totems throughout the universe, and he was destined to become the Spider-Man. And because he was destined, he had organic webbing for a little bit. And also that spider went on to bite somebody else immediately after. And then that person was captured by this one guy to be held in captivity. And because they got bit by the same spider, they have this like weird hormone reaction when they're around each other and they can't stop jumping each other's bones. Like there are so many bizarre wrinkles to what is otherwise a very simple origin story. You know what I mean? So like, oh, it turns out Ventress survived. I'm like, okay, sure. I have zero fucking issue with this. Explain it however you explain it. Like, and it's not to denigrate what you're saying, Eli, or say that you're wrong necessarily. It's just like, I don't even need like the myth making of legend says Ventress maybe walked away. That's cool. I love that. I like it. I like that meta angle. I don't even necessarily need that. You know what I mean? Like, I just need, oh yeah, so it turns out Ventress survived and here's how. Cool. I'm game.
Yeah. And I the thing is, Ventress for me, and this is actually quite a bit like Ventress for me, I will say this, is such an out of left field decision. Like, I can't think personally of a way that I would integrate Ventress into a Bad Batch Season 3 if I wrote it. That's not to say that this won't be good. I'm sure it will be great. But nothing about the Bad Batch as a show, to me, screams, okay, let's bring Ventress back. So I think in terms of how they bring her back, for me it's like anybody's guess. I feel like it's just it feels very like, I don't want to say random because that implies that they weren't thinking about it, which they totally were, but like it is not a direction. If you ask me, like the 100 pre-existing canon characters I thought we would see in this show from season 1, like before season 1, I do not think Ventress would be there.
Which is valid. I don't blame you for being like, that's a little out of left field. Where I think she plays a role here is in the like chase for Omega. And the Kamino, was it Lama Say?
I think that was Namasu.
Namasu?
Nalase
Mamase
and
Namasama
Lamasu.
Makusa.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This kid's funny as shit, y'all. He does not get to bust his chops out often, but yeah. No, but I'll say, like, I do think she's just calling in every single person she can get her hands on. And I will say, I think it is some deceptive editing. I do not think I didn't want to have to kill you, but you're making this difficult is not directed.
Oh, there's definitely deceptive editing happening here. The tones of the lighting of the shots don't fully line up. And it doesn't even feel like they were trying to hide it. I think they were like maybe thinking that only eagle-eyed viewers would catch it, but I don't. But like
the same ones who saw Crosshair in the background.
Yeah, and it's not like stuff like with I remember like the Last Jedi trailer where I need somebody to show me my place in all this, and then Kylo outstretching the hand, and we were all debating on whether that was in the same shot. That was meant to intentionally confuse everybody. This was it's meant to confuse quite a few people, but eagle-eyed viewers will see that it's not the same thing. Like they weren't trying as much to hide it. I also think it probably is a little harder to do with animation, but
that's sure. That's for sure. But yeah, no, I do think she is on the payroll of somebody to retrieve Omega. I would even go so far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if that person she's threatening is Crosshair. I think there's a chance that Crosshair and Omega get out together in some way, shape, or form. And like maybe it's Crosshair who's like, hey, listen here, Jedi, I'm not giving up Omega, go fuck yourself. And it's like, yeah, I'm here for her, not you. And I didn't want to have to kill you, but you're making this difficult.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. It like really like I was gonna compare Ventress to Gungi, but like even Gungi, like I can like Gungi for me at least right now make like and when the trailer like dropped made logical sense. Oh, they're rescuing a Jedi child. They're saving children from the Empire. They said that in season 1. Like, there's a logical leap to get to that. And for me, at least, there isn't that with Ventress yet. And so I'm just kind of I'm befuddled myself. But it'll be really interesting to see. First of all, whether how they do it, of course. And second of all, to see how big of a role Ventress is. Because remember, we all got excited about Gungi. That was one episode.
Yeah, right. I don't. With Ventress, I'm curious because not to shit on our boy Gungi, however the fuck you want to say his name. I never thought he was going to be in more than one episode.
I didn't either, but
like Gungi is to me like. We've never seen him have enough to say or do to facilitate being involved in more than 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah. You could do more with Ventress, and maybe this is me like recycling theories that never came to pass, and like granted this was like semi-accurate, but I was off a little bit. My whole thing with the Mando season 2 finale, I was thumping my chest about like, oh, why was season 2 of Mando so like, okay, you're going to go meet this person and establish a relationship with them and go meet this person. And now you know them and go meet this person. And now you're going to go there. Was it like Din does not realize he is collecting people to round up to go save Grogu.
And most of it was correct.
I was partially right, but I was like, and Cobb Vanth and Ahsoka and like they're going to be rolling.
Cobb Vanth and Ahsoka were the only ones missing, so
yeah, or like Grief. Like I was like, Din's going to show up rolling like 10 deep, banging on Gideon's door
with bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, with a Jedi and a Marshal and a this and a that. And granted, the Jedi came true, but I didn't see that one coming. But all of that. Maybe that's how this season plays out too. Is it like we're meeting people who are going to be a part of a bigger showdown? And I do also like the idea, we see Teth, that Bomar Temple in flames. I do like the idea that this is kind of a swan song for this era of Star Wars animation. That this like interconnected immediate aftermath, the Clone Wars and its immediate aftermath story is gonna like have a bow put on it.
Yes, I'm excited about that.
And
Oh, no.
letting Ventress play a role there, especially on the side of good, presumably, I think is very fascinating and a very fun, poignant.
And I
little
just
stinger.
realized what that could mean, which I love this character, and I'd be fine if this happens, but if this is a bow on the Clone Wars era and like that, the immediate aftermath, like if this is a bow on that show and like a greatest hits kind of sort of thing of that show, then you know who I put my money on being in this season?
Who's that?
Oh my god. I think Ahsoka might be in this season.
I was gonna let you say it, but no. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I
love Ahsoka,
perhaps.
but like
Wouldn't she be in? Would she still be in hiding at this point?
They could fudge some timelines. We could.
That's fair.
We don't know how long Resolve takes place over it. We could do some things.
That's
I
fair.
honestly thought she
My
was gonna
other
appear in
question.
Season 1. But
Oh yeah.
that's just me.
My other question is, in Dark Disciple, I haven't read it or anything. I haven't touched it. I haven't touched the literature at all yet. Still, I need to do that. Where does Ventress supposedly die?
So, as I understand it, and again, don't quote me on this. I understand that her death in quotation marks, is at the hands of Count Dooku. And if I understand it correctly, it is by way of Force lightning.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Is that allegedly? I could be completely wrong. This is like things I've heard tangentially, and I believe read on like Wikipedia a long time ago. But as I understand it, she dies fighting Dooku in Dark Disciple. Again, dies. Air quotes.
And then what I've been hearing people say is she is, quote, laid to rest on Dathomir. And the whole idea is basically like, well, so what if that's not actually her rest? Like, what if there's something in the magic waters of Dathomir? Magic with a K, mind you. My favorite kind of magic.
Right.
What if there's something in the magic waters? The magic waters, some resurrection ritual, some crazy spooky shit. Do me a solid, put old Daka in there to revive her and stuff like that. Even though she's totally dead as well. But
she is tremendously dead.
She is so stabbed dead. But anyway, still love that episode.
What if it's Maul?
I got my head out.
I don't think it's Maul. I don't see Maul having any desire to bring Ventress back. I don't think he would care.
No, I don't either. Though then again, I didn't think that Maul would care about like 100 keys of coaxium. But
would that be?
There. So
that would be post Wipeout, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's still some around. I mean, Marin exists. Surely she's not the only person who made it out.
But what if Maul doesn't know that? He's like, oh, well, I mean, I should probably do something.
Yeah, Marin's probably still there. I wonder what happens, where we're going with timeline of 66. I wonder if Malicos is there already. I wonder
Terry Malicos. That's a good one.
So a lot of shit can happen. All right.
If he's doing what I call in that game the Dathomir soap opera plot, which I love, but it's legitimately so funny to me. I remember pointing Sound in the Galaxy where Marin and Malicos are doing this huge debate about like, oh, they serve me, or no, I should have this on this planet and shit. And Cal is just like, hi, I came here to look at a tomb. Can you let me do that?
I am on a like jungle tour, and I'd prefer to not get caught up in whatever the fuck this is.
Cal's just literally standing there with a broken ass lightsaber, and he's like, "So I don't know how I'm gonna get through this."
Terrifying weather we're having. But no, I am very curious to see the direction they take it. And again, I am somebody who, like, I never really cared for Ventress. She's somebody who's grown on me over the years as, again, this story about how the dark side takes from people. And that became something I really glommed onto with her as a character. And, getting to rewatch Clone Wars, showing Taylor, is something that I've really appreciated because, I know where Ventress's story ends up. So now I get to watch how she gets there now with a more enlightened view of the situation. But yeah, no, I'm very, very excited to see where this all goes. And I'm excited to see that the Bad Batch truly did live up to their whole thing of you will get exactly one thing with Force sensitives per season.
Well, that we know of. And also,
okay,
I will point out,
you get exactly one episode or like one major beat with a lightsaber user.
With a lightsaber, and I was also going to say that I was going to say a Will Palpatine, but but I get your overall point.
He doesn't count. He's not doing Force stuff.
He's not doing Force stuff. He's just being manipulative. Speaking of which, I'm so excited for him being more manipulative in this third season. Those 2 episodes with Ian as Palpatine in animation, the Clone Conspiracy and True Consequences are my 2 favorite episodes of this season, of this series. And I loved how they wrote him. I think it was perfect. I think, like, to say Ian McDiarmid killed it as Palpatine is to say ice cream tastes good. Like, you're not fully capturing how much he killed it because he does it every single time. He does it with such contempt, but like delight at being this incredibly evil. And it's like it's just something you gotta admire. But I'm excited to see more of scheming evil, but now Emperor Palpatine in season 3.
I have so much fun being vile.
Oh yeah, he lives for it. He lives for it. Well, yeah, and
what if
sorry.
What if Ventress is talking to Palps?
I hope not for her sake.
Likely, I think I don't, because I don't know how Ventress would get that far. That's just my thing. Like,
well,
why would she be going after Palpy?
Well, maybe she's not going after him. But what if like in the chase for Omega, they all end up on like Tantus, and Palpatine happens to be there at that time, and she sees him, and she's like, "Oh, this motherfucker." Okay.
But
what if she tries to escape and then
Palpatine? I think she'd want to kill Palpatine.
She would?
I think she would. I'm saying if the line is I didn't want to have to kill you, I think she does want to kill. I think she would want to kill Palpatine.
Yeah, that's fair.
But seeing Ventress, like, I would enjoy seeing Ventress in a way have a Maul-ish arc where she figures out some way, because I don't know if she knew I don't know exactly what she knew about Palpatine's grand plan, but it definitely wasn't anywhere close to all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to see her do a similar thing to Maul, where she kind of figures it out and she's like, "This motherfucker, you played us. I'll give you that, but that's it for that. Like, this is your last
you
time
played us,
playing
but this was fucking dirty.
Like this is gonna be the last of that."
That's certainly something that could be at play. I'm very curious as to like what a lot of like these different like surprising players to see in the mix. Because again, when we're talking about how things like will relate to, the broader narrative, we also got to remember that like this Palpatine being this concerned with the cloning operation, like the implication is clear.
Oh yeah.
That like this is, I think it's funny that a lot of us thought that the cloning stuff that Gideon was up to had to do more with Palpatine. And I maintain that I think it was him kind of skimming a little bit of resources and research off the top and putting it towards himself.
Well,
But
Pershing
most of that
said
was geared towards
basically.
Sidious's.
So, yeah.
What was that?
I said Pershing basically says that in the Convert. Like
Yeah.
very beginning, like we're looking at cloning technologies and with the Empire's research and all that kind of stuff. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. No, it's just I think that there is a interesting wrinkle there that like we are getting what will truly be like our first real look at what Sidious's grander than grand plan was. Like the
Yeah.
grand plan was usurping the Jedi and eliminating them and taking over the Republic and converting it into an empire, et cetera, et cetera. We've all seen the movies.
And the grander plan is, as we know it now, is I am not going to fucking die.
How do I defeat
am not going
death?
to fucking die. Yeah.
Like you can kill me, I'm not going to die. So I'm very curious to finally get a glimpse of that and see it in like the early stages. And that whole process, like I think that might be the thread I'm the most excited for, is to see the Palpatine stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I do, because again, like they set in motion this like terrifying eldritch plan. Like I said it a lot, I think during Mando season 3 and during Bad Batch season 2, where like there was this TikTok going around that like had this haunting music that was just showing these glimpses of like, you have found the way to cheat death, and then the cloning, and then stuff in the Bad Batch, and the what looks like a proto Snoke in season 2, and then like it all culminates to seeing Palpatine on Exegol, like on death's door, but still conquering death itself. That like there is this subtle element of like of like a science fiction conspiracy meets cosmic horror, and like that undertone that now sits under all of Star Wars fascinates me. I love it so much.
It's fantastic. It is. I love it because I love anything that gives more credence to Trust, which is a movie that I know that a lot of people have a lot of complicated feelings about, but I will defend till the day I die. And
to this day.
Yeah. But I was gonna, but like Palpatine returning to me in a thematic sense just makes so much sense, and I'm glad that for the people who care, we're now fleshing it out in a lore sense, so that we can get that extra detail of exactly what the hell he was doing to come back.
Yeah, and again, like it's one of those things where it's like, I was satisfied with as it is explained in Rise of Skywalker. I buy dark magic and like a mix of dark side magic and like fundamentally unethical science that Palpatine was able to piggyback off of an entire clone army being made and wiping out to then steal that technology and research. And frankly, I even really like the idea that Tantus goes tits up for him. I don't necessarily want the story of the Grand Clone Army of the Republic to be one of tragedy, but unfortunately it kind of already is. And something that I think would be really moving is the idea that like, I use 2 examples here for what I'm getting at. In Legends, Labyrinth of Evil, wonderful book. The Republic comes within a hair of figuring it all out. And then the invasion of Coruscant begins. And now we don't have time to figure out why is this transmission from Darth Sidious coming from under the Senate building. I gotta go stop this invasion. Too bad. Never gonna get to circle back to that. And for a canon example, we have the Order 66 arc in the Clone Wars, and we have Shadow of the Sith, where our heroes come this close to figuring it all out before it's too late, but they don't quite get there. I think this could be the inverse of that, where the bad guys are this close to cracking something big, and the clones who are there to keep the fight going fight to the last, destroy Tantus, or at the very least the research that's in there, and set the whole Palpatine cheating death thing back decades.
Yeah.
To the point where it goes from, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to have these really fancy clone bodies. I'm going to have to like jerry rig an army of clones of myself and do some weird fucked up magic in the process.
Like the idea, like where if she had gotten it without the clone rebellion, and I agree with this, and I think that not only this is where it could be going, but where I want it to go as well. Like the idea of like with the Tantus stuff, he could have gotten high quality clones. He would have like been in a better body than maybe he even was in Return of the Jedi. But in Rise, because of the sabotage, in a very Death Star-esque way, actually, he is just barely making it back to life. You know, before he sucks out the power of the dyad, he is like, he's attached to the harness, and he's like, he is not real, like he is more than a clone, less than a man, which should have been in that movie, by the way, but I digress. No, I really like that idea, and I think honestly there's a decent chance we see that. Like that seems like a logical storyline to follow for me.
And again, like, do I necessarily want like all of these Star Wars stories to like have to fundamentally end in some amount of tragedy? No, but there's also the sad reality.
But Batch is heading that way anyway, so you know.
Exactly, Batch is heading that way anyway, and again, like the sad that there's this very there's like a 2-layered answer to that conundrum, right? That is equal parts you need to dance around continuity. And you can only have, not necessarily only have, but I think it is prudent to not have that many characters who were secretly there all along. Like Rex, you know? Rex makes it to the end of the fucking Galactic Civil War. Rex serves on Endor. No, he's not that guy in the one shot, but he is there.
Ahsoka.
You know, Ahsoka. Hera. Or not even necessarily Ahsoka. Like, Ahsoka, like, is, like, doing other shit enough.
Remember when we all thought, by the way, and this is a slight critique of this show, a show that I fucking love, by the way. Remember when we all thought that Ahsoka was going to explain what Ahsoka was up to during the original trilogy, and then it just didn't?
Yeah, because fuck you. Yeah. But again, like Ahsoka is presumably up to enough shit that I'm not worried about her. But Rex, Hera, like Hera Syndulla, again, serves in almost every single major battle of the fucking Galactic Civil War, and we never hear her name until after the fact. And we go, oh, neat. She was on Endor. She was like tangentially part of Yavin. She was here. She was there. She was doing this. She was doing that. Again, cool. I'm not upset that she's now there. I just feel like you end up creating all of these like fun little diginos. Eventually, some of these folks are going to have to feed into, getting back into the narrative mythological element of Star Wars, the push and pull between dread and hope.
Yeah.
That, you know, incredible instances of dread inspires incredible hope in people to stare in the face of insurmountable dread and death and despair, to give their life in a heroic sacrifice, which then inspires more hope to stand in the face of more despair. Like, it's this cycle of, like, you know, we are so powerful we cannot be dominated. Fuck you, try me. More people are saying fuck you, try me. The evil gets worse, and people need to be more willing to do the impossible to beat them. So
that's what Star Wars is about.
that's all. Yeah. So Princess Leia said at the end of Rogue One, hope. But all of that to say, I think that the clones getting to have a like very heroic sacrifice at the end of this narrative is kind of the way to go, at least in my opinion.
I thought it was going to happen last season, to be completely honest with you. I thought it was going to happen last season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's begun to happen. I think there's a level of like the batch having made peace with the fact that they're not going to be able to stop this, and everybody walk away from it. And it's tragic and it's heartbreaking, but like, sacrifice is in the DNA of Star Wars.
Yeah, and there's like the idea of and by the way, if y'all got mad when Alden compared the Book of Boba Fett to the Bible on Twitter, y'all are gonna get really mad when I compare the Bad Batch to Exodus right now, where it is, but like seriously, it is that like Moses thing where, you know, I know the road ahead of me is like, I know that my allies and my people are going to get there, but I'm not going to get there. And I have to make this sacrifice. That's kind of, I feel like that's kind of going to be not only the clone's role, but spoiler, although, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, the Batch's role as well, where I think the idea of like them giving it all up, of Hunter, of Wrecker, of Echo, and yeah, of Crosshair, giving it all up to ensure that Omega can live a life, hopefully one day, without having to worry about the Empire.
Yeah.
I think that's the key of season 3.
I think you're right. I think that is absolutely the direction we're headed in. And, you know, it's going to give, it's going to hurt, man. And again, that's part of the DNA of these stories of sacrifice and heroism, is that, you know, not everybody can make it out, but you hope that the people who do make it out are able to do something with the sacrifice of those who came before them. And
if I may, there is a character that we have no indication is going to be in the season, but that I got to talk about being in the season because I feel like it would be just such a huge mistake, for me at least.
I can't believe you.
No. It's not the character you're thinking of. It's not the character you're thinking of. It is seriously not the character you're thinking of. If we do not go through this season, if we go through this entire series, talking about Omega, the end of the line of the cloning process, and never once seeing Alpha, the beginning of the cloning process.
Oh, Boba.
I think that's a missed opportunity. And I not to toot my own horn, but like obviously, if I'll obviously plug this in the end, of course. Well, but in the script I wrote for my treatment of Book of Boba Fett season 2, that relationship between the two of them is like a core element of that. And one of the reasons I was so drawn to that is because we haven't seen it yet, and it seems to me like such an obvious place to go, where it's like these are the last two vestiges of Jango's legacy, who went completely different paths. We have Boba following the path of Jango himself, and Omega following the path of the altered clones. But they both, of course, because they in a sense are him, carry certain qualities of Jango after his death on Geonosis. And for them to be able to talk, because again, they're, from what we know, and maybe Emery, we don't know exactly what Emery's situation is, but they're the only two people who know what it's like to have the weight of Jango Fett on. And I want to see that conversation.
sensational. And that's his word.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
It's true.
Eli cooked.
Thank
Eli
you.
cooked.
Yeah, I think that Boba Fett, if only for like an episode, if only for like a brief sequence, I think would be really great. If not, it's not going to be the end of the world. I will say, I think there's a good chance Omega survives this season, and if she does, and she and Boba can meet later on, you know what to do, Lucasfilm. Make them meet, because ever since that bomb was dropped in I forget exactly when this was. It was sometime in season 1 about Omega and Alpha, which is Boba. I'm like, okay, so this has got to happen at some point, right?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that one too, and it's one that I really do hope to see. And I just, oh man, Eli,
Also,
you hit that one so good. You hit that
thanks.
one real good.
Also, just while I'm at it, the Empire is having a hard time tracing down the Bad Batch, so they need a little extra muscle on the team. So the Emperor hires one of his chief assassins, Ochi of Bestoon, to go and kill the Bad Batch.
There it is.
I was wondering, no, but I was seriously wanting to talk about Boba, but I had to put my boy in there, but no, but seriously about Boba, but seriously about Boba, I really hope it happens. Again, if it doesn't, I'm sure it's going to be a great season either way. I don't know if y'all were going to mention this because this is not telling us a ton about this situation. But it is at least intriguing to me that, like season 2, we have them titles before.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that before we wrapped up, actually. Eli, do you have the titles in front of you? If you do, I'll let you rattle them off.
I do. The Bad Batch season 3. I'll do the release dates too. February 21st. Confined, Paths Unknown, and Shadows of Tantus. February 28th, A Different Approach. March 6th, a title that doesn't infuriate me at all, The Return. March 13th, Infiltration and Extraction. March 20th, Bad Territory. March 27th, The Harbinger. April 3rd, Identity Crisis, and another title that doesn't infuriate me, Point of No Return. April 10th, Juggernaut. April 17th, Into the Breach. April 24th, Flash Strike. Get your tissues out, everybody. May 1st, The Cavalry has arrived.
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't had a chance to really look at the episode titles. I do really appreciate how well, having seen the trailer, you can map some of these out now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Juggernaut is probably going to be the episode that features them wrecking shit in a Juggernaut tank that clearly had Crosshair in the background of, and it comes after Search and Rescue, or the rescue. So that'll probably be involving Omega and Crosshair getting out, and
yeah.
The
Cavalry has arrived. Is like again, it's been talked about. I know we've talked about it. A lot of our friends talked about it. It's gonna fucking kill me. The Cavalry has arrived is the first line of dialogue spoken by a member of the Bad Batch ever.
It's Wrecker, right?
Yeah, it's Wrecker in the Bad Batches, the episode of the Clone Wars. And to see them go out the same way they went in,
wrecking shit. Hey.
And yeah, and like I want to see that moment. I want to see a moment, and I think we'll see like as much as we can, of course, without tech, of from the beginning and ending of season 1, like in that training course against those sentry droids, of the batch finally after 3 seasons apart, getting back together, doing this thing, and becoming the Bad Batch one final time, like truly, as a unit.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, you know who seems to have good science-y / technology abilities? Emery. Make her the new Tech. And just go from there. Have the 6 of them, because I'm including Omega in there.
Yeah.
Go his glory. Do it all. Do the thing.
Hell yeah.
Well, I think that about sums it up for this episode. Very excited for the Bad Batch. We will be doing weekly reviews. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be doing the live like call-in reactions. That is going to largely depend on my schedule and exactly when they're going to be
Yeah, it
dropping
doesn't
this.
look
'Cause
good, actually.
We do not have a confirmation as to whether or not this is going to be it drops at the ass crack of dawn, or
I
if it
think,
drops at a
unfortunately,
reasonable hour.
that's more likely because
It's looking like ass
Wednesdays. It's Wednesdays, so I think we might have just gotten lucky for Ahsoka. Believe me, I want it to be that. I want it to be at 6 p.m. for me on Tuesday. That's really great for me. That's really great for me, but like, I don't think we're gonna get that lucky.
I unfortunately think you may be right. But yeah, Eli, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Absolutely. You can find me at Star Wars in a Galaxy. This is the podcast I do with my best friend Jacob. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we will be getting back to doing stuff soon with our 16th season, I believe, yes, of this show, where we're covering right now. We're covering Obi-Wan Kenobi. We have a bunch of cool stuff coming up. You can follow us at In a Galaxy Pod everywhere, and you can listen to us on all them platforms. Actually, I can. Do you mind if I make an announcement very quickly about something?
Oh, I'd love an Epic Confrontations.
Breaking news.
exclusive.
It's not an Epic Confrontations announcement. It's an In a Galaxy announcement, actually.
Oh, okay.
But
well, either way, hit us.
we're doing we're returning to bracket streams on February 11th. February 11th, we're doing the Best of the Jedi Order with maybe one of the most stacked panels we've gotten for one of these, I think, ever. This panel is going to be me, Jacob, Alden Diaz, Laura Kelly, Corey Fox, and DeVore from A Large View of the Force.
Hell yeah.
Most of those sound great. Most of those folks sound wonderful. I mean, I'm a little disappointed I didn't get invited on for the Jedi panel, but
don't worry, we have you on for.
I know somebody wants to censor me telling the truth about a certain Jedi Grandmaster who ain't shit. He is, but
guilty as charged.
Kind of point.
Guilty as charged. But the next one, which I hope that Jarod will join us for, is Sith one that we'll be doing in April. So, which I wanted Jarod specifically for, not just because of the Yoda stuff, but also because I think we're going to use Legends Sith in that bracket, and I need somebody who knows Legends stuff. And so, although you're not going to be spread your Yoda agenda, you're going to be able to spread your Dooku and Crate agenda. So I think that's a fair balance.
I was going to say I will be able to show for both Darth Crate, or not both, but I will be able to show for Darth Crate, Count Dooku, Exar Kun, and I better get first pick at Darth Vader for the record.
Well, what was I gonna
or
say?
at the very least, you better not make me argue against Darth Vader.
Well, yeah, I think we'll probably give you yeah. Again, this depends on. Of course, we gotta iron out those details. But then, of course, Epic Confrontations. These two gents above me are both in it. Actually, that figures. I think this is one of the first times we're saying it. Meet one of the newest teams in Epic Confrontations, the Jedi Lords. This will be explained in a cutscene for Epic Confrontations very soon. But these guys have these guys are part of a new team that is debuting now that Jarod's team span is elapsing. We just
Oh,
released.
my team's ban is almost over.
It is very much almost over. We released 2 new matches a few days ago. It was yesterday. Time's weird. We did a match with Jarod and myself on the desk, and a match modeled after the Inner Geekdom division of the Movie Trivia Schmodown, which was co-host of this show, or not this show, but
T-Nat
corollary
proper.
show, yeah, Pre-Nat proper, Travis Grossman versus author extraordinaire Kelly Knox, and then of course our main match, which totally wasn't spoiled in the beginning, but it's fine. Our main match,
It could not go without acknowledgement, Eli.
No. I almost said the match wrong. The Night Sister Jane Dalton versus Jerry the Cannon Junkie. Our number 1 contender match to face Olin Diaz in our May title match. And so we'll be back soon with Jarod. Your faction is getting some more heat.
It's about time. We're ready. We're ready to cook some of these pretenders, some of these clowns.
Scribbling versus McCoy is going to be February. And the last thing I'll do is plug my link tree, which you can find all my links on, all the stuff I do. linktr.ee/_OGFan327.
Absolutely. Y'all go follow Eli. He is the next generation of Star Wars fan commentator. And frankly, he's doing this better than most people. And it is a pleasure to work with him.
Jared.
It's a pleasure to get to make the specific kind of shows that we make together. You know, we get to do a lot. And between EC and the very specific flavor of show you got going within a galaxy, just go check out all the things Eli does and all the things he does around here. More on that in a second.
Eli be cooking.
Yeah.
Eli be cooking. Travis, Kason, where?
Not quite.
Not quite.
At Cray Breezy on Instagram and Twitter. Also, manage a deathcore band called Belvebeth. Their links are in my bios. Too hard to spell out, you know. Jarod.
Wait, I got this. Jarod, where?
Good.
What? What'd you say?
Eli said Jarod where, and I did the campfire song Squidward to you. I said Jarod, and then you didn't say anything, so I went, good.
I did not hear you. I'm sorry. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts, as well as our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you want to get your hands on some TNAT merch, go ahead and click that student store link.
T-public.com.
And if you're feeling generous, tpublic.com. And if you're feeling generous, you can chuck in $1 to our Patreon.
Hey, give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone. Sir.
So good.
Steal yourself, Colin! Steal yourself!
This is me stealing myself.
And to Paco, or as he's going by now, Chat GPT.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing at both of you. Again, the wonder of sitting in the host seat in StreamYard is you can see what
It's
others do. You can see
fantastic.
all the windows. So the moment is like, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I saw both of them pantomiming. Like they were going fucking Super Saiyan. Both of them. I just want to say real quick, Knowledge Fight, the podcast that I love that I recommend to anybody, that the reason why there are so many Alex Jones clips on this show is because of Knowledge Fight. Their most recent episode that came out today at time of record, tomorrow when you're listening to this, they were going to like caller. They were like, listen, because they'll like basically like break down episodes of InfoWars and debunk it and shit. And they were listening to Alex's callers for that specific episode of the Alex Jones show. And when he was like, all right, such and such from wherever, what do you have to say? And the person just went, ah! And then Alex, like pitch for pitch, recreated that. Some guy called and just went, ah! And he went, ah! And I was like, TNET listeners know. Paco, who has that clip. He's also a Knowledge Fight listener. And got a policy wonk shout out some months ago.
At least the loss of $1 billion didn't lose his sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Or his Disney Plus subscription, as he also referenced Return of the Jedi in that same broadcast. Also, Ray Clausen asked that you donate to Equality Texas to help keep queer kids safe in the Lone Star State. Or as long as it is a state, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of our Patreon.
They still get Social Security?
That tweet fucking told me. We are going to be recording Kyle Katarn versus General Grievous. Unfortunately, Spencer is tied up with some church obligations. So we are going to have a special guest co-host for this final episode of the Versus series. Not a guest. We've had a couple of those already. It'll be guest host, pinch hitting. It will not be me and Spencer on the season finale. It will be Eli and myself covering Kyle Katarn versus General Grievous. Eli's going to be riding shotgun with me. I'm very excited for it. As another fellow lifelong versus YouTube fan.
I was going to say, I think I'm probably one of the only people who has invested nearly as much time into Evan Over 95 and Jen Sarai 1 as you and Spencer. So,
hey, I was also an Antoine Bandelet guy. There came a point where Antoine was my fucking dude. I'm not going to lie to you. There came a point where I was watching Antoine Bandelet way more frequently.
I've watched all of them. I will say that, like, even though I disagree with a lot of their takes on the newer stuff, I will still go back. I will still go back every once in a while. Like, this is like an every year sort of watch for me, which is Palpatine / Darth Sidious is not invincible. Like, that entire, like, 2-hour thing, like, it slaps from beginning to end. It's really good.
It is really good. I will say one of the funnier things Jen Sarai ever did, and again, I disagree with him so much when it comes to, like, opinion-based Star Wars stuff, but he's fantastic at, like, the versus stuff. And whenever, I can't remember, it was Asajj Ventress versus somebody, and it was just really funny editing, where he was, Asajj Ventress is a Rat-Attacky from Rat Attack, not a fucking Dathomirian, and then it cut to the Clone Wars logo. Fuck you. Because that man does not like the Clone Wars. And listen, again, I don't think it is a moral judgment on somebody whether or not they like the new stuff. People can have valid reasons for not liking things. Not liking stuff does not inherently make you fandom menace. And I disagree with Jen Sarai on a lot of things, but the motherfucker is consistent. Like, he gets props from me for, like, equally disliking certain things of Star Wars and being able to back it up and not fall back on, like, paper thin Mary Sue type arguments.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Jen Sarai has been pissed off at Star Wars since 2008. And while I disagree with him, at least at no point has he tried to pretend that he had a change of heart about Ahsoka Tano.
No. This guy has been incredibly consistent. They've all been very consistent on what they like and don't. I haven't kept track of a lot of, like, Like, honestly, my interest in that, a lot of them fell off around the time of certain Star Wars films release. Interestingly enough, probably not surprised to anybody. But
Yeah, I did. I went back because I realized I do this a lot with the Versus series where I accidentally pick matchups they've already done. And I don't know if it's just a matter of like it's a good matchup, of course somebody did it, or I'm like subconsciously plagiarizing. I don't know at this point. I don't trust myself anymore. But whenever we did Luke Skywalker versus Darth Bane, I went back and watched Jin Sarai's video, and he did make my eyes roll. I will say, I respect him. He did make my eyes roll because he had some type of comment about like depicting Luke Skywalker as anything other than a fucking Force god is inherently disrespectful to the material. And like as he was saying it, it was slowly fading into Luke in the sequels, and I was like, okay, calm the fuck down, chill the fuck out. You've made it clear you don't like it. Chill the fuck out.
yeah, that's no. Also, Luke is a Force god in that movie, but whatever.
Yeah, Luke also does some absurd fucking force feats. Hey, and I'll put this out there. I don't know if Jin Sarai's ever seen this. I even tried to reach out to him via email once. If he would ever want to come on this show to just talk about new Star Wars and why he may or may not like it, I'd love to have that conversation with him. I'd be honored as a fan. But yeah, season 4 of the Versus series is ending this week, and we're going to have an episode of TNAT proper out. We're going to be doing a news roundup this week as well, so stay tuned for that. Lots to talk about. Deadpool 3 just wrapped. We have our Supergirl. Vince McMahon is a fucking monster. All kinds of stuff to talk about on TNAP. So stay tuned for that later this week, probably on Friday. Get a Friday news roundup. So yeah. With all that said, check out Epic Confrontations. Check out INI's Bastards. Episode 3 of season 2 is out now. Very excited. We had a fun little. It was almost like a fun little espionage thriller this past week.
It was great. Everything's coming up, bastards.
Everything is coming up, bastards.
Hell yeah.
A sentence I did not regret within 15 minutes.
No.
Not at all. Pain.
I know that look. I was gonna say, I know that look.
Listen. Oh, I can finally talk about this. So I there was a moment in the second episode of this season. I didn't want to talk about it until episode 3 was out because I didn't want to spoil it. Kason, I hope you clip this out. So our party gets attacked by a Mandalorian at the end of episode 2.
We're gonna do this. Okay.
And he goes after Jerry's character, 4044, who is a droid. And this Mandalorian starts unloading ion rounds into this droid. And after a handful of great rolls from Dan Miller from Baraxium, Zuzo Yort, our cyborg Gungan, and Alden Diaz, our Ithorian scumbag lawyer, they buff me like crazy, and I get to just unload with my character, who's a former Jedi, and just unload on this guy with just crazy attack roll after attack roll, and beat him within an inch of his life. I go to interrogate this guy after we get him on the ground, and I get on top of him, and I go to rip off his helmet. And as I rip this guy's helmet off, Michael, as our DM, Michael McCoy, all remaining systems, so this is a YouTube channel you can watch it on. I go rip off his helmet, and he's like, "Oh God, no, no, no!" And then I go, "Oh, he's a child of the Watch. That's an interesting thing that Michael did. Cool. Moving on. Episode ends. Whatever." And Taylor, my lovely girlfriend, who was, watching the episode with me, she loves the show. She calls it her program. It's her favorite Star Wars series, and she looks at me and she goes, "That was really fucked up." I'm like, what do you mean?
It's not doing good things for your relationship.
No. I almost got her favorite character, Alden, killed last season.
Yeah. And now you.
Now I did an intergalactic hate crime.
Yeah. Now you probably violate some ethical shit.
So I ripped. So she's really.
Or you better be careful. Buzz Lightyear's going to be after your ass.
So So she's like, it's really fucked up what you did. I'm like, what? She's like, you ripped off that guy's helmet. I'm like, well, I didn't know he was a child of the watch. She's like, still, that doesn't matter. Even if you didn't know, that's like a violation of his culture. And I'm like, oh, I had no way of knowing. And what ensues is like an hour-ish long like play argument between us where I'm justifying ripping off the helmet and she's telling me why it was messed up. But it's jokey and we're giggling and we're laughing and we're having a great time.
You took away a man's right to go to heaven.
And then she says that.
And then she said that. And yeah.
And you lost that one.
And I lost that fight.
That's forever.
I'm so glad that when I finally got to tell this story on air, you got to tell the punchline.
That was so funny.
That was perfect timing. That was perfect timing.
Miss Taylor's so good.
Miss Taylor is the best. But yeah, that was what I was alluding to last week. For those of you who haven't seen the episode of Ionized Bastards yet.
Oh wait. If I can, I got to talk about the other great Jarod moment in the episode.
Please.
So, they're working for a pod racing crew in this episode, and Jarod sees another one of the pod racing crews, and in Jared's character, Fabian Martel, with his helmet on, by the way, this is an important part, sees one of the other pod racing crews with Trandoshans and Wookiees, two species that have historically been enemies in the Star Wars universe. And Fabian waxes poetic a little bit. Oh, it's so nice that people that they finally found a way to work together. And then Michael instantly goes, and then you see the shock collar on the Wookiees, and Jarod pauses for the perfect amount of time, and then goes, "Oh, it's slavery."
I forgot about that one too. That one's funny as
my
hell.
favorite moment of this season so far.
The defeat in my voice mixed with like the hold on, I think I have voice mod open still. So I sound like this when I say it. So it's very and I'm normally like putting on like a little bit of airs, you know, trying to have like a scoundrelly type of vibe. And then that was full Jarod.
Oh yeah, it was.
Just oh, it's slavery.
It's so good.
Took that L big time. But thank you all so very much for watching. Watch Ionized Bastards so you can see me walk away with my tail between my legs twice.
Really, truly.
Check out In a Galaxy, check out Epic Confrontations, check out Ionized Bastards. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Do
Eat
all
your green
those
vegetables.
things. Eat your green vegetables, and may the force be with you always.
Stop! Move away from the